There it is. A little delay, but that's okay. How's the audio, John? How's the audio? Good? Okay. All right. Why don't we get started? We're doing a trial stream here. So this is being streamed out on the HI-TEC website, and John's going to be streaming some other things. How's the audio? This is something we weren't going to do, but we're doing now. Yeah. All right. Can't hear? Okay. Why don't we get? It's not. Get started. Okay. We're doing a trial stream here. No, this is wireless. All right. I guess what we need to do then is probably hold this. But let's see. We're streaming this. We're streaming this live. John's going to be streaming some other things during the course of the conference. We weren't going to do this one. We thought we'd try it as a trial. Can't hear? Be working okay. Why don't we get? There's an echo. It's not. It started. Okay. We're doing a trial stream here. We got to turn the screen off. Okay. All right.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
All right, should be good now.
Yeah. We'll just. Is that better?
I already muted it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's close that browser. Okay. Was it Firefox or Chrome? Was there no Chrome? There. All right. Well, you want to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I'm Mike Kesani. This is Gordon Snyder. We're with the ICT Center. If we could start just by going around the room, have everybody introduce themselves, tell us where you're from and what your interest in ebooks is, so we can start right over here. Chuck?
My name is Chuck Paulson, and I'm with Connecticut College of Technology. And it turns out I just finished a week ago my book. So, just want to say your book? A book. I actually have a real book about math anxiety relief, so I want to know how to distribute it now.
Good.
Okay. Good.
My name is Mike. I'm from upstate New York, and I teach high school, teach a college class, and we currently use an e-book put out by Cisco Press for the curriculum, the Cisco Network Academy curriculum. But I write so many of the other extras that I almost have a textbook myself, and looking for alternative ways of publishing that other than separate individual documents.
Okay.
I'm Nano with the ICT Center in Springfield, Mass. And I'm looking for, I think this is something I might want to do, maybe another 10 years.
Hi, my name is Sean Says, and I'm also with the ICT Center. I'm in the same line, same applications.
Very good.
Angela Wall, I'm at Wayne Community College in North Carolina, and I'm interested in it because I just teach so many online and hybrid classes, and textbooks are so expensive, so it's my interest.
Okay.
I'm Bill Gusky. I'm with Corus Darlington Technical College at the National Robotics Training Center there. And my interest is because all of the courses that we've developed for the robotics part of the sequence are all taught online.
I'm Kevin Pegg at Florida State College in Jacksonville. I'm interested because we teach biotechnology classes there and have about 100 SOPs that are written. I just need to get them organized.
Steve Dalmas from the College of Lake County, north of Chicago. Just general interest. I'm always interested in this sort of stuff. So
Great.
I'm Sebastian Mader. I'm from Penn State University for the Center of Nanotechnology, Education, Utilization, and one of our focuses now is taking our course and putting as much of it as we can online, and we're hoping that students can do parts of it online and then come to the course for maybe 1 or 2 semesters instead of 6 credits instead of 18 credits. So then this would be neat for implementing labs and whatnot.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Hallway, and I'm with Foxway Technical College out of Appleton, Wisconsin. And I'm interested because I can't seem to find the book I need, so I'm thinking about how can I go and get what I need off of the site and read it into a book. Have what I need for my class. Hey everybody, I'm Ann Blackman. I'm with the Convergence Technology Center out of Collin College in Frisco, Texas. And our interest at the Convergence Technology Center is the dissemination of all of our materials, and in particular our curriculum we've created. How's the best way to get it into the hands of the instructors across the country as well as the students.
Yes,
Hi, my name is Gloria Silva. I'm from the City College of San Francisco. My main focus area is the web development. That's what I teach my students. And I always have found it's very hard to select books. And that's the reason that I'm doing this workshop.
Hi, I'm Courtney Brown from the City College of San Francisco, and I'm here because I teach computer hardware and I'm in the lab as well, and I find assembling the combination of references, resources, and exercises to be so difficult using web-based tools that it would be really good to have a way to assemble them and to give them out and let them go without having to tend them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Brian Monticelli. I'm with Irvine Valley College in Orange County, California, and I teach optics and photonics courses. And I actually agree with Courtney. I have a lot of different resources, and I'd like to assemble these into some kind of a closed, distributable medium. I think that this would be very helpful.
I'm Dan Hall with HI-TEC, the National Center for Optics and Photonics Education. Last year we developed an e-book from one of our courses and pilot tested it. We did it primarily because we wanted to get the cost down on textbooks for students, but what we've learned in improving teaching and learning and using enhancements is just overwhelming it. So I think it's got great potential, and we're just kind of early on.
Mm-hmm.
Alberta Jimenez, Department of Material Electronics at Austin Community College, Austin, Texas. And, you hear a lot of stories, and they're true about the high cost of textbooks. And also, there seems to be a trend toward e-books. So I just want to find out more about it, and maybe we can start using more e-book in our curriculum. That's my interest.
Scott also works with Forward Community College in South Mississippi. Like Alberta, I want to learn more about e-books and how we can introduce them to our faculty and decreasing the cost of textbooks for our students.
My name is Dave Kitarwar. I'm the chairperson of the physics department at Indiana University, Pennsylvania. We have also 2 years associate degree program in electro-optics and photonics. And I'm here also to learn more about how we can use these electronic
I'm Bill Sachek from Orange Coast College, and I'm also a member of the Convergence Technology Center. I'm here to, a lot of it's been said. Number one, the high cost of textbooks and e-books seems to be a great thing. Also, the idea that, especially in some of the high-tech computer areas with the hardware and software stuff, it changes so fast that the book is out of date before it gets printed. So, and also the idea that says that a lot of material that I produce for my class could possibly be used by other people, but the cost of trying to get a publisher and doing it is too expensive and too difficult.
Hi, I'm Amber Healer. I'm a PI on the Convergence Technology Center, but this is also very timely because I'm on a California task force with the Chancellor's Office looking into the future of instructional electronic materials. We were specifically trying to figure out how to charge the fees legally to students for publisher materials, but the whole conversation got pretty well taken over by why are we charging them at all? Let's see if we can't have free publishing
I'm Alan Lewandowski from the College of Lake County. We are currently developing an open entry, open exit program, and we would like to use an ebook as the backbone for that program.
I'm Chris Hawkins from Century College at Southern Media in St. Paul, and I'm the program director of the paramedic program actually that teaches public safety and health sciences as well. We're now piloting a HI-TEC project with our students to take out into the not only the classroom but the field to do various emergency departments and ambulance services, fixed wing, motor, ground. So I want to find out what we can do with this pilot project and get
Okay. All right, great. Thank you, everyone. There's some flash drives going around with some sample content and also a couple applications that we'll be using in the hands-on part. These are open source applications, so we have links to them. We have a Dropbox set up, a folder set up in Dropbox that'll be available after the conference, and we can send you a link to that, and anything that we do will be in that folder, and you can always access it after the conference.
If you brought your own machine, the machines that were here all have files already on them. But if you brought your own machine and you didn't get a jump drive, we've got one left, I think. Anybody need one? Mom, do you still have that one?
That would give us 3 files, say Mac download, sample content, Windows down.
You can just, you can copy it. You can just copy it over your machine.
That's what's on it.
Yeah, there's some sample content, and there's a couple apps. Yeah, there's machines up here.
All right, while Gordon's doing that, Gordon and I have been interested in ebooks for a couple years now, and we've gone so far. I'm at Brookdale Community College in New Jersey, and we actually have a pilot going this summer where we're actually developing on instructional materials and ebooks for our basic electronics and also for our digital electronics course, and we're going to pilot those in the fall. And we're looking at, we have a meeting in August when I get back to look at submitting an ATE proposal to do something more with ebooks. So if you're interested in that, please talk to me either during the break from 10 to 10:30 or anytime during the conference, and we'll work out the details and see if we can get you involved. Gordon is the director, the executive director of the ICT Center. He's got a boat now. He likes to be called Skipper, so he prefers that title now. Skipper, yeah. 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 The only worry I had about that was then does that make me the little buddy, my Gilligan then? Yeah. But Gordon's at Springfield Tech in Springfield, Massachusetts. So we're just going to start here with just a little video, because I think one of the things that when we start to look at some of the examples of ebooks, I almost think that the book is the wrong term. That by continuing to use the term book, we're locking people's minds into what a book traditionally is. And some of these concepts you can do so much more than you can with a traditional book.
Broder Ansgar? Ja, der er jeg. Ja, så bra, ok. Ja, hei du. Hei du. Ja. Ja, hva gjelder det? Ja, det er denne her. Ja, vil du sitte? Takk. Ja. Jaha? Ja, så jeg har ikke fått gjort noen ting hele formiddagen. Okay, nei, jeg beklager at det tar tid. Så skjønner vi holder på å legge om til et helt nytt system, og da skal alle ha hjelp på en gang. Ja. Så du kommer ikke inn i den, eller? Nei, den bare ligger der. Okay, har du forsøkt å åpne den?
Åpne den, altså hvis det hadde vært så enkelt, så hadde jeg jo ikke tilkalt helpdesk, hadde jeg vel?
Nei, det er sant.
Nei. Vil du ha en kopp vann?
Nei, det skal være fort gjort, det kan vi se. Du bare gjør der. Sånn. Ja, da er du i gang.
Ja, altså så langt kom jeg også.
Ok.
Men så stoppet det opp, og så var jeg redd for at noe av teksten skulle forsvinne, så jeg turte ikke å gå videre.
Ja, ok. Nei, men du skjønner at inni her, så ligger det kanskje flere 100 sider med lagret tekst. Så for å komme videre, så tar du tak i et ark på den måten her, og så liksom blar du over på neste side sånn. Da fortsetter teksten der.
Jeg blar, altså?
Du blar, ja.
Men når jeg skal tilbake, da?
Ja, da bare blar du tilbake igjen. Tar tak der, og så sånn. Der, så er du tilbake til den teksten du hadde, sa. Ikke noe
ok, så den slutter der, og så Så fortsetter den der, ja. Ok, men når jeg skal avslutte for dagen, hva gjør jeg da?
Da bare slår du sammen permene
Ja?
på den måten der. Sånn. Da er den lukket der, ligger alt lagret inni der.
Altså, jeg risikerer ikke å miste noe av teksten her nå,
Nei,
altså.
alt ligger lagret inni her nå.
Ja.
Da må du i tilfelle sette fyr på hele greia. Det er kanskje lite sannsynlig. Så.
Ja, ok. Nei, men for det er noe med det at ikke sant, når du har holdt på med skriftruller, så tar det litt grann tid å konvertere til å bla i en bøk. Ja. Ja, det er litt. Det er greit? Ja, men du, en til før du går. Jeg må bare gå gjennom en gang til. Altså, jeg åpner sånn, og så, hva du kalte det?
Blar.
Jeg blar.
Ja, blar videre.
Blar hjem og tilbake.
Ja, teksten ligger der hele tiden.
Ja. Og når jeg er ferdig, så bare lukker jeg den. Flott. Fint det. Kjempefint. Ja, flott det. Ja, men du, vent, ikke sant? Nå er den sånn igjen, nå får jeg ikke åpnet den. Nå får jeg ikke åpnet den.
Ja, du er fra feil side. Du må åpne fra andre siden.
Så det er ikke likegyldig det, altså?
Du må åpne fra den siden der. Sånn. Der. Der er den åpen.
Ja vel.
Har du lest manualen, eller?
Manualen?
Jeg skal følge med som manual og som brukerveiledning. Det er sikkert den der. Der, vet du.
Åja, den, ja.
står alt sammen.
Ja, men ikke sant, der har du samme problemet. Får den ikke opp. Åpnet den.
Ok, det skulle vi kanskje ha tenkt på.
All right, my turn for a little while. Yeah. All right. So everybody's got a computer that needs one. You've copied. Okay. They got full charges on them. So that's it? Everybody else has one? Everybody have a jump drive? You need a computer? Okay. On this jump drive, there's the presentations on here. There's some installs for both Mac and Windows operating system. Both apps we'll use today are well, there's versions for both. Yeah.
Or the jump, do we keep this?
If you could copy the files over,
Okay.
if we lose them, we lose them, I guess.
Okay.
$9 a piece. But anyways, and Nina's here. I probably shouldn't have said that. She keeps track. She keeps track of all the money at our center.
We just pick up a collection at the door.
Where did the clicker go? Did I lose the clicker? Oh, there it is. All right. So there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. We're kind of going to scratch the surface. There's so many applications now, and so we'll look at a couple of them in a little bit of detail, maybe a few more. But it's just it's amazing that the new stuff that's come out in the last 6 months, and this stuff it's coming out every day. So I want to talk a little bit about the history. The what we know as e-readers, anyways, have sort of only been around for a little while. There were a few that were out before the Kindle came out, but the Kindle sort of hit the market and got a lot of publicity. But that was released back in November, right around Thanksgiving time. They released it for the holidays in 2007. It was $400. Did anybody buy an original Kindle? I bought one. I ordered it, I think, on November 22nd, and I didn't get it till February. There was that much of a back order on them. I think Mike told me now that original Kindle is now worth $17 or something. Was it? Wow. Or 16? Yeah. So that was a good investment. Yeah. But in year one, they sold over, over 500,000 of them. In February 2009, they announced the Kindle 2, which was sort of the slimmer, more streamlined version, similar to the Kindles you see now. And they also announced the DX, which was the larger screen Kindle, in May of that year, 2009. So that's history on the Kindle. The real game changer, though, I think, was the iPhone. And some people may argue this, but January 2007 at Macworld, it was unveiled. We were actually out here in San Francisco when it was unveiled, and we were having our winter conference out here. We walked over to Macworld and took some pictures of the thing. They had it inside this sort of glass cylinder. It was pretty neat. But July 2007, sales started in the United States. I remember Mike calling me up. You were waiting in line to get one on the first day in New Jersey. I was, I think, driving out to Cape Cod. But by November 2007, they had sold 1 million of them in the United States. They started selling them in Germany. So this was or in Europe. So this was a pretty, I think, pretty revolutionary product. And it's one piece of technology. My daughter has my original iPhone. It's something I'm going to probably save because I think it's a pretty historical device, unless she loses it. But the App Store, okay, the way to distribute content online. Apple, and the reason I'm talking about Apple is because Apple sort of right now has about 90% of this market, this App Store market and music market. It's amazing what Apple's done. They've made it so easy to buy things and online. But the App Store for the iPhone was launched in April 10th, 2008. There's over 300,000 apps available right now, probably close to 400,000. And there's a whole app economy that's been set up. And I want to talk a little bit about that. We're seeing a shift in the book industry. We're seeing a shift towards simulations and simulated assessments and those kinds of things. We're seeing it on desktops. We're seeing it on the mobile devices too. And this is really the value add, especially for book, what we call book content, which is basically text with some pictures, right? So we're seeing this shift. Dan left. Dan sent me an interesting article about a month ago, Dan Hull. I think it was along the lines of you want students to learn, have them take a test. In other words, don't have them read, don't have them listen to lectures, have them take a test. And one of the ways to test students is to develop simulations and test them with simulations. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But most of you probably have some kind of smartphone, right? And the market is just accelerated now with Google especially jumping in with the Droid stuff. But Apple has continued to come up with new devices. They continue to get better and smaller and faster and higher resolution, better cameras. So again, it's a push, and there's a lot of pushing going on by a lot of different companies. Where we're going, the price of e-readers is coming down. Anybody heard of that? The iRiver? Have you heard of the iRiver? Target's selling it now. It's the first device. I'll talk about it in a little bit. It's the first device that uses the Google Bookstore. That was released, I think, July 17th. Target started selling it July 17th. I went to buy one July 17th, and they didn't have them at the Target near our house. But the price is on a downward curve. That thing's selling for $139, which seems to be sort of a sweet spot right now. So they're no longer $400. People can afford them. You see lots of people using them, reading them. I see a lot of people. We were out on Cape Cod on the beach about a month ago, and a lot of people on the beach using them. You see people in airports, airplanes. So the whole idea of paperless reading, there's a lot of reasons people like these things. There's some pushes by various states to move in this direction. So it's just an interesting time. We're seeing this shift. Now, as far as file formats go, and we're going to talk a lot more about these things, but minimally, anyways, it should support, an e-reader should support these different file formats. Some support them indirectly, but the big one appears to be now, with everybody except Kindle, EPUB, this EPUB format. So we're going to talk about that. Okay. But they all support these other formats here. PDFs, they all support them, but PDFs are so-so on readers, and we'll talk about that. The big question right now is what is a book? I know Borders is going out of business, but they teamed up back in February with Book Brewer. Maybe you saw this. But it's the whole idea is to provide a simple service that allows bloggers or anyone else with an idea to publish an ebook and get it distributed. Get it out there and start selling it. The service allows writers to upload their content, and that content can be any length. You can set your own suggested price. within boundaries. There are typically boundaries set by the companies that control this, and publish it. Publish it in an open EPUB format. So when it's open EPUB, you can download it and put it on really any device. It may or may not have to be converted. There's two tiers. If you look at this book brewer model, one costs $89.99, gives the authors an ISBN. Then there's advanced package, gives you a master EPUB file that you can do whatever you want to do with it. So this is the kind of model we're shifting to right now. And I'm in the middle of a little bit of an experiment with my blog this summer. I'm trying to publish and tag legacy telephone network stuff that's rapidly going away. The old public switch telephone network, how that works. I'm trying to do a bunch of blog posts on that. And what I would like to do is use one of these content generators to create a book out of that content, maybe at the end of the summer or whenever I finish the thing. So, and that should be pretty easy for me to do. So I'm writing little chunks of blogs, maybe a page, page and a half, a couple times a week. And by the end of the summer, I'm thinking maybe November or December even, when I'm done with that project, I'll be able to just go into my blog and basically just grab everything that's tagged a certain way and make it into a book. And I don't know, I may or may not try to sell it. We'll see. Probably give it away. So this is an interesting model here to take a look at. Amazon launched Kindle Singles late last year. That's also designed for publishing less than book length writing online, between 10,000 and 30,000 words, 30 to 90 print pages. So, and they're looking for, they're looking for different kinds of content here. They're not just looking for, the typical stuff you may be buying on Amazon, like fiction books and those kinds of things. They're looking for science content, history, sort of textbooky kind of stuff. And so if you have an Amazon account, you can publish a book, and it's linked up. The PowerPoint is on is on the jump drive. So grab a copy of that, and the links are hot in that. And we're seeing a shift. I don't know if you've noticed this. We're seeing a shift in books right now, and we're involved with a program with Verizon technicians. Our center is, and you used to be able to buy pretty good what we would call textbooks that had the traditional textbook kind of content for advanced topics. They'd have end of chapter questions, and they'd have some sort of test bank, and it would come with PowerPoints and things like that. Now we're seeing, I think we're seeing this shift towards these professional series kind of books. Wiley's doing it, and Wiley has done it very successfully. Typically they're advanced topics. Like I just bought a book on 4G and LTE. It's not a textbook. It's a professional series book. So it's got all the content that a textbook would have, but it doesn't have all the instructor materials. And I think what they're doing is they can sell a professional series book as both a textbook and a book that a professional kind of person would buy and read. Where I think they were having trouble selling textbooks to non-academic people. So it kind of opens up a market for them. And I think Wiley was one of the first ones to do this pretty successfully, and we're seeing other publishers do this kind of thing right now. So it's maybe they're looking at that kind of model with this kind of a product here, the Kindle Singles. So that's what Kindle's doing. The big publishers are shifting, and we're working on a separate project with Cengage Learning and Hofstra University. I don't think anybody's here from Hofstra, but I did go out to a meeting a couple weeks ago out in Albany at Cengage. And Cengage Learning is the world's largest publisher and aggregator. They publish all kinds of stuff. They publish Wired. I didn't realize they published Wired magazine, which is one of my favorite magazines. But so they've got all this content. It's all been digitized. It's all sitting on the web somewhere. They're organizing it, tagging it, sorting it, massive databases. I think they've got 18 million I think that's the number they used, different pieces of content in this database now, all available online. So they've that's something they call their DVI, Digital Vault Initiative, and they're organizing and aggregating the content by topic area very nicely. So if you look at what they've done, there's an evolution, and this is where they're going as a publisher. They're going from print, which we're all used to digital collections. They're taking those, so digitizing everything. They're organizing it in a database that's searchable and sortable, and they're generating what they're calling portal products, which are pretty interesting. What they do is, let me see if I can, I wish I had a screenshot. But let's say you write a book. You've got ebook content. It appears in a frame if you're looking at this on a website. And then around the site, around the frame where the actual book content is, they've got different stuff, links basically, that they've pulled out of their online database. So let's say you've got a chapter on, I don't know, Snell's Law, which is an optical, it's an optical equation for index of refraction. So you may have, so you've got the actual content in a frame, and then right next to it you got a bunch of links on Snell's Law. Yeah, and you can click to those links, and these are all refereed. This is all refereed content, so it's content that they've sorted through and they've basically authorized and approved. Ian?
Is this the content where they make their money, where you have to put in a code?
Yes, yeah.
Controversial part is paying for a code that is perceived, at least in California, as not being tangible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a subscription. They're struggling with their revenue model right now. It was an interesting meeting because there were Gale is the company that's doing the database stuff. There's Del Mar, which is the traditional sort of print publisher, and then there's Del Mar is a textbook publisher, and then there's Cengage, which is sort of this umbrella that publishes all these different kinds of content. They're still trying to figure out what to do with their salespeople right now. There's this shift towards electronic content and delivery, but they don't have good sales models for the salespeople. So the salespeople are still out there pushing print. So they need to figure out how to move these people, I think, to selling electronic content. There's a huge initiative in Texas. It's like Proposition 20 or something like that. I can't remember. It's big. It's big. K through 12. It's huge. And I don't know the details, but I know they were talking a little bit about it. Salespeople like those big numbers. But the whole idea of digital curriculum. So we're seeing the shift in the not just in the colleges, but in the K through 12 areas. Most portal content now is text and audio. It's primarily reference material, maybe a little bit of video, but they're looking at enhancing it with additional multimedia content. We want to talk a little bit about that, and we will in a little bit. But they're looking at things like simulations, and again, those sort of simulated assessments, or which are pretty interesting. And these are the kinds of things you can do with an ebook that I think ultimately are going to push a lot of people in the ebook direction. So, any other questions? If you have questions, ask as we click through here.
The publishers are struggling about how to make money.
Yeah.
And they have to make money. We've got to
Yeah.
keep having publishers. We don't have editors. We don't have people up to date. So they've got to figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
They just haven't figured it out.
Well, this was interesting because this beautiful building. It's in Clifton Park, which is right outside of Albany. 2 weeks ago, I think, just about 2 weeks ago, I went to the meeting. The last time I had been at this building, they got this big waterfall in the entryway. The waterfall was turned off. There was practically no cars in the parking lot. There was nobody in the building. 2 weeks ago, the waterfall was on. They had the building, parking lot was packed, and there's people in every single cubicle and office space. So they're doing a lot of work. I think what they're doing is they're sorting through all these 18 million documents or pieces of content they have, and they're organizing. There's a lot of work being done. But they've figured out, I think they've figured out a business model finally. The publishers have. They still got to work with their salespeople, which are sort of in that transitional period between print and digital. But it's changing. You could see it. It was great to see all the people working there actually.
Where they're going to, this meeting that I attended at Pearson had 4 of the publishers there, and where they're going is trying to license to an entire state a whole cadre of books, and trying to figure out the model to get that sort of payment to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that is the real problem is exactly what you say, the salespeople. There's not who gets credit for selling a whole state?
Right.
That's hard.
But that's a huge sale.
It's a huge sale, but it doesn't require a whole lot of volume.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys try to model Apple's model with the music?
Yeah.
I mean, where
Yeah.
you sell them
We'll talk about that.
a couple of bucks. I mean,
Yeah, I got. We have some slides on that. Yeah, you'll see. Yeah. That's the way to go. I agree. That's a really good question. But anyways, this is a. You may want to check this out. This is pretty interesting. Digital Discover Education digital textbook, and you can see all the different resources that are available to the teachers and the students. And this is I think this is a good example of where ebooks are going. They've got content in all kinds of different formats, all different types of content, and it all runs and works on mobile devices. Whether the mobile device be an iPad or a smartphone. Some of the content is available on Kindles, but you can't do the simulations and those kinds of things on Kindles. Yeah, you will be able to soon. Yeah.
I teach for a local community college up in Troy, New York, and their IT comp sci department is moving towards using Safari Bookstore or Bookshelf. So as a user, you put up to 10 books on your bookshelf, and you read them online or through anything that has web access. So, how does that model compare with the Udemy?
They're doing.
That's the way Safari Books works.
Yeah.
I pay a yearly subscription, $249, and I can have at any time I want 10 books
10, yeah.
in my bookshelf. So as a student, not many students take more than 10 classes at a time. I don't know of any that do. So you put your 10 textbooks in that your instructors are using, and you work with them, and then next semester you
Swap
clear
them
your
out.
bookshelf.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a great model. Mike always says, and I agree with him. The bookstores are usually some sort of a revenue stream on your college campus. So there's been resistance from the bookstores.
Because I can buy my textbooks for college classes at Google's half.com for less than half the price that the bookstore is selling them for. So
I think a lot of students don't realize that, and then there's the whole financial aid. There's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah.
Well, it is a really big area and big time of change, and to some extent the publishers have brought it on themselves. We've had them make the change of the color of the cover of one version to another, or in the case of an economics textbook, multiply all the answers by 10 and then want to rev that. In my case, in the IT area, the biggest challenge for the publishers is keeping up with things. If you've got a Wi-Fi textbook that took a year to produce, it's 2 standards behind.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, what we want to be teaching students is how to find and use canonical resources, not out-of-date things. That's where, in my area, computer networking technology, my students haven't bought a book in about 4 years.
Yeah, that's good.
They are required to join the Association of Computing Machinery in the student membership, which costs $20 a year and gets them access to 500 books online and 2,500 training courses, including the training courses for all the top TIA certs and all the Cisco certs and most of the CIW certs.
what was that?
ACM.
The Association of Computing Machinery. They used to recommend all us computer science students join there because it's one of the oldest and most respected professional organizations. They've been very aggressive with their student membership.
Yeah, and there's a shift to. Well, Mike's involved with ACM at the community college level, so there's I think you're going to see a lot more good content come out of there too.
What needs to happen, it sounds like you're describing some of the things that the publishers are thinking about is trying to move in some way.
Yeah.
You don't have test banks that are years out of date because you can't keep up data.
Mm-hmm.
It's very costly.
Yeah, yeah.
To some form, like you described, the book that's then saleable to a much wider variety of people, and easier to keep up to date.
Right. Well, the content itself is dynamic, but yeah, this is a good example, and you may want to take a look at this. There's some samples. Like I said, the link is hot, and we'll have the PowerPoint and the Keynote file up in the Dropbox too that you'll be able to access. So, but there's a lot of good stuff here, a lot of good ideas, and this is sort of the way. I think this is a good example of the shift we're in the process of right now. You can see pretty good use of videos, some sort of interactive glossary. There's dictionaries built into this thing. So there's a lot of good stuff here. They even put it on a DVD for students that are going home and maybe don't have a broadband connection at their house. So they've got that covered too. So there's some different readers. I'm going to go through these kind of quick. Anybody have an ebook reader? Probably either Kindles or Nooks if you have one, or an iPad, or an iPhone, or a Droid. The Kindle is this is the Kindle DX. This is the bigger screen one. I think Kindle's original intention was for this thing was textbook, but it's a little ahead of its time. But they're actually very nice. If you've seen one, maybe some of you have one. The first one I saw was actually at this conference 2 years ago. There was somebody who had one. It's very nice. So they come with free 3G. They got a Wi-Fi radio in them too. 3G and Wi-Fi. This is the smaller one, 189 or 139, depending on which version you get. So this is pretty nice. My wife has one of these. She's a sort of a traditional book reader, fiction kind of book reader. So she really likes this. We just got her the Wi-Fi 139 one. The Barnes & Noble Nook, maybe some of you have one of these. It's similar to the Kindle. It's got a little color control bar kind of a thing down here. And that's 149 or 199, depending on whether you want Wi-Fi or 3G and Wi-Fi. About the same size. It weighs a little more than a Kindle. The Kindle Color came out, when did this come out? Back in last fall, I think. $249. I've seen a few of these at the people in a hotel I've seen with a couple of these. I think I've seen 2 people walking around with these. These are pretty nice too. They're all pretty nice.
Can't read that one in direct sunlight.
Yeah. The new Nook, have you seen one of these? This came out about a month ago. They're a little smaller. I thought this one was very nice too. I have a friend who went out and bought one the first day, and I had a chance to look at it. I think that was June 9th, I think, came out, or June 10th. Okay. So no 3G version, just Wi-Fi. So those are pretty nice. Sony readers. Sony's had these readers out for a long time. They're very nice. They're very nice looking. They feel ergonomically they feel very nice to hold, but they haven't sold very many of them. And it's probably because they don't have the content. They don't have the content that Amazon or now Apple has, or even Barnes & Noble with the Nooks. So that's an issue. But they're nice looking machines. If you get a chance, check one out. One of the, I think at one time Barnes & Noble was selling them, but then when they came out the Nooks, they stopped. So you have to almost go to a Sony store now to take a look at one. Kobo Reader. This is Borders partner, about $129.99, ships in July. I believe this is shipping right now, or I don't know how long it's going to ship. But again, it reads different formats, and we'll talk about some of the different formats. There's no reason why you couldn't use this device with other content. And then the iRiver. This is the iRiver story. This just came out last week. July 17th, I think. Like I said, I went to Target, tried to buy one, and actually went with my daughter, and they didn't have them yet. But It uses Google's ebook, basically ebook platform or ebook store, over Wi-Fi, $139. I haven't seen one, but I know some people who have, and they say they're very nice. It does not use a Droid. It doesn't use a Droid operating system. It does not use a Google operating system. It's a hybrid, something iRiver put together. I think it's Linux-based. But you can see the different kind of files. You can read PowerPoints, and there's an Office viewer on here, along with built-in dictionary and the traditional ebook formats. So you may want to check that out the next time you're in Target. Their PC World did a little comparison, and this was from last April, I think. So there's, but they're all. I think you can see they're all about the same. You know, some have different storage levels, processor speeds. The Kindle's a little slower. Battery life about the same. So these are traditional readers, though. I want to make sure. This is sort of like for reading fiction books, I guess. You can't do really simulations or animations, those kinds of things with these. And then the iPad, and again, this is kind of the game changer. I know some of you have these. A lot of you probably have. Most of you have used one or tried one. There's all kinds of different models. The big advantage of the iPad is the whole idea of the apps. In being able to run apps. It's heavier than a Kindle, but it does a lot more than what a Kindle does. It's not sort of a single-purpose device. And again, what Apple's done. Whoops, that's my funny slide. They've come out with the App Store. They've got app stores for all the different devices. There's an app store now for Mac computers. So you can buy. I bought. Upgraded to Lion on my machine, which is a new version of OS, their operating system. Just did it online. You're seeing CDs and DVDs go away. They're all going to go away from the Apple Store. Everything is going to be put up on some sort of an app store online. Going to be sitting out in the cloud. And this is my joke slide right here. So everything keeps getting bigger, right? So next year they'll come out with an iBoard and an iMac. I showed this to some kids last week. Middle schoolers were at a robot camp on campus, so I went over and talked to them a little bit about some of this stuff. So I showed them this slide, and one of these kids got so excited when he's an 8th grader. He got so excited when he saw this thing. He's like, "Oh, I want to make that when I get older." So yeah, he was thinking, you know, have you seen that Dance Dance Revolution thing? That's what it kind of reminds me of. The thing they have in the arcade where the kids have to step on the. But he had all kinds of ideas for something like this. It was funny.
Seems like Borders is one of the last ones to get into the readers, and Borders is going belly up. Yeah. It's sad because they were pretty good. I always thought they were pretty good company. And then there's the other, the competition. Apples aren't the only fruit. There's Steve Ballmer with the Windows Phone. We've got the Droid stuff. There's lots of things going on in the area. The Chromebooks are out now, a Google operating system. So we're seeing this shift, and competition is just ratcheting everybody. The shift is happening quicker and quicker. There's a few other app stores. Windows has a store. BlackBerry has a store. There's a Droid store. Nokia, Samsung. But if you look at what this is a little dated back in 2010. I think it's around 87% right now. 90% of the app downloads in 2010 came from Apple's App Store. So, and now, like I said, let's say it's around 87, maybe between 80 and 85%. I think we can safely say that. So we're still seeing Apple dominating in this market. So I want to talk a little bit about what Apple's doing now because of that domination. And just so we keep track of time, we have a break at 10. They're having some refreshments, so I want to make sure we do that. Mike was going to demo some iPad apps now, I think. You want to do that now, or do you want to wait? And then we can... Yeah, he's got a bunch of them listed here. We got to switch over.
samples here. We have one viewer in Texas, by the way, for our Ustream. All right, so he's related to someone in the room.
My kids aren't watching. I sent them an email.
No. Gordon and I record a podcast, and one of his daughters refers to it as the blah 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 podcast. So, so. All right. So what I'm going to do, this is the second generation iPad, and one of the advantages of this is over the first generation iPad is that there's video out from the whole device, not just from certain applications. And so I just want to show you some examples here, and so I have a list here. So if I go into, I just have a folder called Books, and start with iBooks, which is Apple's book reader, and I think where the game started to change with the iPad, and you've probably read that Amazon is rumored to be coming out with their own Android-based tablet, and so I think they already have an Amazon store, so they're already selling an Android store, so they're selling Android apps for mobile devices, and Google made Android open. But then that openness now, I think, is going to come back to bite them, because now Amazon, with their resources, is going to take that openness. They're going to make their own version of an Android tablet, and it's probably going to have Microsoft as a search partner. So it's not even going to have Google search. It's going to have Bing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And it's going to have their own store. So it's not even going to be buying the apps from Google. All right, so this is just some examples here, and we'll show how some of these are made. So in iBooks here, this one is one that will show you there's a bookmarklet. So if you're not familiar with bookmarklets, it's a little code written into a bookmark. When you click on that code, it performs some sort of function, and this is a website .epub. And so this bookmarklet allows you to actually take a website and then generate an EPUB file from that. So someone was talking about the fact that even the books we use are sometimes out of date. So what if you crowdsource this and then had your students then, over the course of the semester, if they find an interesting story, a timely story that you want to use in class, they generate an EPUB file from that website, share it with the rest of the class, and you make that available through links or through hosting it on a server. So this one just creates this little EPUB file. So this is actually from a website here, so blog.3press.org, and nothing has been done to this other than just taking the straight EPUB file from here. One of the advantages of this sort of approach now is that I can go in and I can highlight, just like I would with any other book in the iBooks app. I can highlight that, I can click on a word, I can go to the dictionary, and you don't have to do anything to get that functionality. It's built right in there into the app. All right, so that's EPUB. Or .epub. This is an example from Pages. So Pages is Apple's equivalent of Microsoft Word. So the current version of Pages includes a direct export to EPUB. So right from Pages. So you have to have a Mac, so an Intel-based Mac, you have to have the current version of Pages. But right from there, you can export straight to EPUB, and then you can share this with anybody. So if you're looking to buy that new 11-inch MacBook Air that just came out, this would be a good excuse, all right, because then you can export to these EPUB files. So, and that sample file is on there. We can show you how to do that. This is a textbook that just came out. This guy self-published this book, and he took an interesting approach. So this was he made this freely available. This wasn't purchased. It's just Creative Commons licensed, I think, but he does have an ISBN. And what he's done is he's got a lot of photos in there, and so this is about connections and personal learning networks and learning through a network of colleagues and a cohort. And so rather than embedding the YouTube, he's got links to YouTube videos here that will launch from this app. He's got links to websites. He's got some photos. But that's another one that, just an example of what can be done. This is, James Gleek wrote this book, Chaos. And so this is available on the iBook store, and he released two versions. He released the standard version, and then he released an enhanced version. And the enhanced version has these sort of videos here, these embedded videos. And I can just click on that.
Gaining more detail as the quality of the computation improved. Were the bug-like floating molecules isolated islands, or were they attached to the main body by fine filaments? It was impossible to tell. Eventually, its admirers said that the Mandelbrot set is the most complex object in mathematics. An eternity would not be enough time to see it all. Its disks studded with prickly thorns, its spirals and filaments curling outward and around, bearing bulbous molecules that hang infinitely variegated, like grapes on God's personal vine. The Mandelbrot set seems more fractal than fractals, so rich is its complication across scales.
So throughout the enhanced version of this book, he's got these videos embedded in there so that right in the context. And notice you don't have to do a separate download. You don't need an internet connection. In this case, unlike the Connections book, which it's a link to YouTube, in this case, the video's embedded in the EPUB file so that you can play it without a network connection. So I think that this is going to have a lot of applications. And Amazon realizes the potential of this, so even their iPad app that they have, even though the Kindle itself doesn't support video and audio from a book, the Kindle app on the iPad supports audio and video, so you can embed audio and video in there, and I suspect that when they launch their own tablet, that will also have the ability to view video and to play audio. This is a project I did on campus here, so it was a little internal project in using Web 2.0 technologies, and there was a blog that we created to track everything, and so we actually just took that blog content and created a Pages file. So it was just, again, Pages is like Microsoft Word, Apple's version of Microsoft Word, but in this case what we did was we just cut and paste from that blog. We had already had the videos we created. You'll see that there's even a table of context that you can generate from the content. You don't have to type that yourself as you would expect. But if you take a look at this, the videos are just put in a Pages file, and I'll show you that file. We have it on the USB drive. But so this is an embedded video in that book, and it was as simple as just taking the content, pasting it into a document, exporting it to EPUB. This was filmed on a little flip camera. So,
and what do you teach in the English department?
this is, by the way, this is Bob McGovern. He's not related to the other McGovern he has up there, but he's an English faculty member. He's a retired police detective who, at the end of his career, he was a police detective in New York City. He had become one of their profilers, so he had worked a lot with the FBI and had the ability to just go into the scene and just tell you a lot about what had happened just based on looking at the scene. So a very interesting guy, right? And knows the best pizza places in New York City. So, all right, but so that's very simple to make, and we can demo that today. How simple that was, just putting the links in there, putting the videos in there. If you want images, you can do those, and just export it to EPUB. Right? This was. I just took an engineering exam that I had laying around. This was a Word document. Pages will open Word documents, so I just opened it in Pages and exported it. And so the images show up right there. I put a video in just to see if I could do a video there, experimenting with that. But Again, very, very easy to do. You can click on the image in a book here and get a bigger view here. And you can zoom in on that. And I can show you how easy these are to do. Again, it's very straightforward. Let's see some other ones here. This is a student did an internship with a solar company, and he wrote a solar cell company, solar installation company. So he wrote his internship report, and this one, Calibre, is one of the apps we're going to look at today, but I actually had his Word document. I exported it to HTML. You bring it into Calibre, and you can then output it to EPUB, and it shows up on here as an EPUB file. Right? Let's see. Now, one of the limitations of PDF. So PDF is another useful format, but one of the problems with PDF is you don't have the ability to have the text flowing based on changing the size of your text. So if I look at one of the EPUB examples over here, let's just take a look at this one. I can go in and I can change the text size, make it bigger if I need to. I can change the font even, and I can reformat it. With a PDF document, you keep the advantage that you have the fidelity of your document. So that's one advantage of PDF, but you then don't have any of the enhanced ebook stuff that you can do. And you don't have the ability to go in here and pick words and come up with definitions or do anything like that. All right. Let's see here. All right, quickly, oops, I don't want to go to the store.
Which format other than PDF do you prefer?
The ones that we've been experimenting with are EPUB and Mobi. So Mobi works on the Kindle. All right, so those are the two that we've been experimenting with. All right, so this is the Kindle app, and just a few examples here that I'll show you. This first one here, this John Siracusa is a writer, programmer and writer, so he writes for Ars Technica, and this is his like 85-page review of Apple's new operating system, Lion. So I'm barely through it, so I bookmarked it here. I'm only about a fourth of the way through this, but he writes a huge review that takes him weeks and weeks to write. So what he decided to do, in addition to making it, it's on the website, so you can view it on their website, but he also made it available as an ebook for the Kindle for $4.99. So he's trying that to see what sort of traffic he gets from that. Right. But that one is primarily text with links and screenshots. And he has a podcast, and it's interesting because all the listeners refer to him as Squidward. So his voice sounds like Squidward from the old SpongeBob cartoons. So this is from the Kindle store. So Amazon's Kindle store. This is just a sample of a book on knitting. So now you imagine any discipline where you have hands-on skills that students have to learn and master, the ability to now put that video in there. So just like you can do with iBooks, you can put a Kindle video in there.
Stitch is one of the most common knitting stitches. To get started, hold the needle with your cast-on stitches and the tail of the yarn in your left hand and the empty needle in your right hand. Insert the tip of the needle into the first stitch, forming a T. The empty needle should be in the back.
I don't know anything about knitting, but I put that in there for Paula Valuto, who's usually out in the audience knitting while we're presenting. Mm-hmm.
You're upside down.
Oh. Did that just happen?
Yeah, after the video.
After the video.
You can probably explain it.
Okay.